Hey everybody, this is Meredith Lego, and I am doing a series of videos on Ascension science and the mechanics of how that works through the expanding of consciousness. And in the last couple of videos, I've actually touched upon the concept of reincarnation, and more to the point of actually how to stop reincarnating specifically on Earth, because while we do tend to, energy never really dies, it continues to morph into other energy. But it's my understanding through learning with different teachers that I've been working with, who are basically, past reincarnating on Earth. What they're basically saying is that it's not really normal for you to always go back to the same planet. It's a situation where we essentially have found ourselves in this, and we personally have allowed it. Our souls have allowed it, but essentially, we've done it as essentially we kind of put ourselves in situations of being around lower frequency energies, and over time, this has created a lot of fear in the humans, and kind of being victims or being victimizers, or sort of being trapped into, situations where there's sort of divide and conquer tactics that go on between us. And it's overall, created war and fear and all that kind of stuff. And you see that kind of play out, and it's played out for, thousands of years. So when that happens, individuals can obviously create sort of energetic cause and effect patterns that essentially the energies have to balance out. Now, some would call that karma, and it's really you to kind of work out balancing those energies. And the last video I touched upon another method that I heard on how to do that, and that one came from Ascended Master Hilarion. And just as I finished it up, I realized that there was actually a third channeling that I did as well that touched upon the third topic. And I'm going to go ahead and read this one. Now, this also came from Ascended Master Hilarion, and it had to do, and this time was the first time I actually asked the question, how do you stop reincarnation out of Earth? Because I was, I'm just kind of curious about it. So before I get into that topic, what was pretty interesting about this channeling session is that I got this like very cryptic message first, and sometimes they always start with something that is nothing I'm necessarily thinking about or wanting to know about. It just happens. And I remember hearing and kind of seeing the phrase clairvoyantly, 1066, and it was specifically referencing a year, so 1066. So the message was, Duke of Normandy lost his light from within, William the First. And that's really what it was. And I was like, whoa, like I remember learning about this guy in history, when I was taking history class. So I had to look it up. So again, the message was Duke of Normandy lost his light from within. And that was like really random thing to hear. But what I learned is that William the First, the Norman King of England, he was kind of around during the Dark Ages. So 1066 was in the Dark Ages. But what's pretty interesting is that when you kind of understand the cycle of the solar system as it kind of rotates around the galactic center, there are periods of time where we are getting hit with more higher frequency energies, and other periods of time where we're farther away from the bands of photonic light that have those higher frequency energies. Now we're just rotating into that band where we're getting hit with higher frequencies of energies that are sort of emanating from the galactic core. And so that's really helping to shake things up, because a lot of gunk that is in kind of the energetic body of Earth and all the beings on it are sort of being rattled and cleared. So there's a lot of energetic gunk that is clearing out, and you can kind of see it play out. But at this particular time of 1066, we were far away from the high frequency energy. So it sounds like they're referencing, that's like smack in the middle of the Dark Ages, smack in the middle of that Dark Ages where, it was dark. And what they said is essentially he lost his light from within. I don't know what that has to do with, reincarnation, but it was a phrase that came up, so I thought I'd share it because it was in the same session. So in this particular, the answer to the question, how do I stop reincarnation out of Earth, was somewhat similar to the last video that I did. He said that the perceived path of organic methods of going within, using your own technology to generate the necessary light and frequencies to go through the gate system. Your energetic and mental bodies must be a high enough frequency. And that paragraph basically matches some videos that I did months ago having to do with sort of the Stargate and portal systems. I think it might have even been referenced in your inner gates and another video on the halls of Amente, possibly. I can't remember all of them. But essentially what they're saying here is that, yes, while there are like star gates, like what you'd think of in the movie out there, that are very tied into the ley lines where there's kind of energy portals, really that was an ascension method, I guess, maybe in the past, but we also have the way to ascend within our own, beings, using our own technology. And it's by going within into the heart and into the 0 point. And so he's saying that path of organic, that path of organic ascension, again, using your own technology, really is the best way, and you're doing it by creating the necessary light and frequency to go through your internal gate system. And then there was another reiteration that touched upon the theme from the last video, which is conscious dying is also required. So this is the process of retaining conscious memory and understanding during and after the death process. You have the opportunity to practice this every night you sleep by maintaining lucidity. So that was said again. And then your receptors are wiring to hold more light through the inner work to heal blockages in your energy field. Now, he didn't say that particular statement the last video that I did, or in that particular channeling session, but that very much matches the first video that I did on what came up about incarnating or stopping incarnation, and that has to do with, again, healing blockages in the body, and specifically in this one seed cell, the first seed cell, and the energetic body of that first seed cell that generates as soon as your physical body, it's like the very first cell that is created. So that's another interesting tidbit. So again, it's conscious dying. So maintaining lucidity as you're going through that death process, maybe so that you could, have wits of kind of what's going on around you. And then also, obviously at that point, you've also done a lot of healing work. And what I found is that my ability to achieve more lucidity during the dream state, and even during out-of-body experiences, and even the ability to increase higher sensory perceptions, have increased the more that I've worked on healing traumas, and trying to get to the root causes of why does this trigger me, or why does this piss me off so much, or whatever it is. When I try and understand the root causes of those, and at least acknowledge it and maybe witness it and forgive it, that's really helped that process as well. So it's you're going through that healing, and then by doing so, you might have more lucidity as you're kind of achieving these transitional states of consciousness. And as an aside, I've had the experience, there's sort of like lucid dreaming, and then there's very much going out of your body, where you're like out of your body, you're looking down and you're like, my body's down there. And you realize that your consciousness is very much active and alert, and you are traveling out of your body. And when you do that, that in essence is a form of, I guess, conscious dying, although your body's still alive. So That's kind of an example, I guess, of what they're referencing. So again, I thought I'd share this as another interesting tidbit on the expansion of your consciousness and how this plays out into your ongoing journeys even after you exit this particular life. So with that, I hope you have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you in future videos. Bye.